Imagine walking through an airport in the 1970s. Above the crowds, towers an aircraft so massive that people stop and stare. It has 4 giant engines, a distinctive hump on its upper deck, and enough space inside to carry hundreds of passengers across oceans. For decades, this aircraft became the face of international travel. It carried presidents, celebrities, business leaders, and millions of everyday travelers. It appeared in movies, television shows, and advertisements around the world. To many people, it represented the very idea of flying. That aircraft was the Boeing 747. Known as the Queen of the Skies, the 747 revolutionized aviation and became one of the most recognizable airplanes ever built. Yet today, something surprising is happening. The giant jumbo jet that once dominated airports across the globe is disappearing. Major airlines have retired their fleets. Storage facilities are filling with aircraft that once carried millions of passengers. And newer airplanes with only 2 engines are taking over the routes that the 747 once ruled. So, what happened? Why are airlines retiring one of the greatest aircraft ever created? And does the Boeing 747 still have a future? Today, we're taking a deep dive into why the Boeing 747 is disappearing. Chapter 1. The aircraft that changed everything. To understand why the 747 is disappearing, we first need to understand how important it was. In the 1960s, air travel was growing rapidly. More people than ever wanted to fly. Airlines needed larger aircraft, capable of carrying huge numbers of passengers over long distances. At the time, Boeing accepted a challenge that seemed almost impossible. The company set out to build the largest passenger airplane the world had ever seen. The result was the Boeing 747. When it entered service in 1970, it was unlike anything that had come before it. The aircraft was over 230 feet long. Its wingspan stretched nearly 200 feet. The plane stood almost as tall as a 6-story building. Most importantly, it could carry hundreds of passengers at once. The 747 dramatically reduced the cost of international travel. Flights that were once available mainly to wealthy travelers suddenly became accessible to much larger portions of the population. The jumbo jet helped create the modern era of global tourism. For the first time, mass international travel became practical. The world suddenly felt much smaller. Chapter 2. The Queen of the Skies. There is a reason the Boeing 747 earned the nickname Queen of the Skies. The aircraft quickly became the flagship of airline fleets around the world. Carriers competed to offer luxurious experiences aboard their jumbo jets. Many early 747s featured lounges, bars, piano areas, and spacious seating arrangements. Passengers viewed flying on a 747 as an event rather than simply transportation. The aircraft became a symbol of prestige. Owning a fleet of 747s told the world that an airline was a major international player. Airlines including British Airways, Pan Am, Japan Airlines, Singapore Airlines, Lufthansa, Qantas, and many others relied heavily on the jumbo jet. Some carriers operated dozens of them. For years, airports around the globe were filled with the unmistakable sight of Boeing 747s arriving and departing. The aircraft dominated long-haul travel for decades. Few airplanes have ever achieved the same level of recognition. Even people who knew little about aviation could identify a 747. Its distinctive hump became one of the most famous shapes in transportation history. Chapter 3. Bigger isn't always better. Despite its incredible success, the aviation industry was beginning to change. The very feature that made the 747 famous, its enormous size, would eventually become one of its biggest disadvantages. Airlines discovered that filling hundreds of seats on every flight was not always easy. A partially empty jumbo jet can become extremely expensive to operate. The economics only worked when airlines consistently filled large numbers of seats. As competition increased, airlines started looking for more flexible solutions. Instead of operating one giant airplane each day, airlines found they could often make more money operating several smaller flights. Passengers liked having more choices. Business travelers especially preferred flexible schedules. This shift in strategy slowly began reducing the advantages that the 747 once enjoyed. Airlines no longer needed the biggest aircraft possible. Instead, they wanted aircraft that balanced capacity with efficiency. That shift would change aviation forever. Chapter 4. The Fuel Problem. Perhaps the biggest challenge facing the Boeing 747 is fuel consumption. The aircraft was designed during a very different era. Back then, fuel efficiency was important, but it wasn't nearly as critical as it is today. The 747 relies on 4 large engines. For many years, 4 engines were considered necessary for long flights over oceans. Technology at the time simply wasn't advanced enough for twin-engine aircraft to safely perform many of those missions, but engines improved dramatically. Modern jet engines became more reliable, more powerful, and significantly more efficient. Aircraft manufacturers realized something important. 2 modern engines could often do the work that previously required 4. This changed everything. New aircraft, such as the Boeing 787, Dreamliner and Airbus A350, offered incredible fuel savings. These airplanes could fly similar routes while burning substantially less fuel. For airlines operating thousands of flights each year, those savings add up quickly. Millions and sometimes billions of dollars can be saved over an aircraft's lifetime. When airline executives compare operating costs, the numbers often favor newer twin-engine aircraft. The result is simple. The 747 became increasingly difficult to justify financially. Chapter 5. The Rise of the Dreamliner. One aircraft in particular played a major role in changing the industry: the Boeing 787 Dreamliner. Unlike the giant 747, the Dreamliner was designed around efficiency. It used advanced composite materials. It featured highly efficient engines. It reduced operating costs while still offering excellent long-range capability. Airlines loved it. The Dreamliner allowed carriers to open routes that would have been impossible with larger aircraft. Instead of requiring hundreds of passengers, airlines could profitably serve smaller markets. This gave airlines tremendous flexibility. Suddenly, travelers could fly directly between cities that previously required connections through major hubs. The hub-and-spoke system that helped make the 747 successful began evolving. Point-to-point travel became more attractive. The Dreamliner and similar aircraft fundamentally changed airline planning. As more efficient aircraft entered service, the 747 found itself competing against airplanes specifically designed for modern economics. Chapter 6. Airbus joins the battle. Boeing wasn't the only company reshaping aviation. European manufacturer Airbus introduced several highly efficient long-haul aircraft. The Airbus A350 became one of the most capable aircraft in the world. Like the Dreamliner, it combined long range with exceptional fuel efficiency. Airlines now had multiple alternatives to the jumbo jet. Instead of choosing between large 4-engine aircraft, carriers could select highly efficient twin-engine designs. These aircraft often required fewer crew members. They consumed less fuel. Maintenance costs were generally lower. Profit margins improved. For airline executives focused on reducing costs, the decision became increasingly obvious. Many airlines began retiring their 747 fleets and replacing them with newer aircraft. The trend accelerated year after year. Chapter 7. The impact of COVID-19. If the 747 was already facing challenges, the COVID-19 pandemic dramatically accelerated its decline. In 2020, international travel collapsed. Passenger demand fell to levels not seen in modern aviation history. Airlines around the world were suddenly losing enormous amounts of money. Executives were forced to make difficult decisions. Older, less efficient aircraft became obvious targets for retirement. The 747 was among the first aircraft many airlines chose to remove from service. British Airways retired its entire passenger 747 fleet. Other carriers followed similar paths. Aircraft that had once connected continents were parked in deserts and storage facilities. Many never returned to service. The pandemic compressed years of fleet modernization into just a few months. Aircraft retirements that might have happened gradually instead happened almost overnight. For the Boeing 747, COVID-19 was a turning point. Chapter 8. Why people still love the 747. Despite its retirement from many fleets, aviation enthusiasts remain deeply attached to the Boeing 747. There is simply something special about the aircraft. Its size commands attention. Its distinctive silhouette is instantly recognizable. The upper deck creates a unique passenger experience. Many travelers consider flying on the upper deck one of aviation's greatest experiences. Pilots often speak fondly about the aircraft as well. The 747 represented ambition. It represented engineering excellence. It represented an era when airlines competed to operate the biggest and most impressive aircraft in the world. Even younger aviation fans who never regularly flew on 747s often admire the aircraft. Its legacy extends far beyond transportation. The Boeing 747 became a cultural icon. Very few airplanes can claim the same achievement. Chapter 9. The 747's Second Life. Although passenger service is declining, the story of the Boeing 747 is far from over. The aircraft still excels in cargo operations. Freight companies continue, relying on 747 freighters to move enormous quantities of cargo around the world. One unique advantage is the aircraft's nose-loading capability. Certain 747 freighter models can open the front section of the aircraft. This allows oversized cargo that would not fit through standard cargo doors. Everything from industrial machinery to helicopters can be transported. Few aircraft offer similar capabilities. As global trade continues growing, many cargo operators expect the 747 to remain useful for years to come. While passengers may see fewer jumbo jets, cargo companies still see tremendous value in the aircraft. Chapter 10. The End of Production. In many ways, the clearest sign of the 747's decline came when Boeing ended production. For decades, the aircraft had been one of the company's most important products, yet demand steadily decreased. Orders became increasingly rare. Airlines preferred newer designs. Eventually, Boeing built the final 747 and closed one of the most important chapters in aviation history. The end of production marked the conclusion of an era. An aircraft that once symbolized the future had become part of aviation history, but ending production does not erase its impact. The Boeing 747 transformed global travel in ways that are still felt today. Conclusion. The Boeing 747 is disappearing for a simple reason. Aviation evolved. Modern aircraft are more fuel efficient. They are cheaper to operate. They offer airlines greater flexibility, and they fit today's travel patterns better than giant four-engine jets. Yet, the retirement of the 747 should not be viewed as a failure. Quite the opposite. The aircraft succeeded beyond anyone's expectations. It changed how people travel. It connected the world. It carried billions of passengers, and it inspired generations of aviation enthusiasts. Even as newer aircraft take over the skies, the Boeing 747 remains one of the greatest engineering achievements ever created. The Queen of the Skies may be fading from passenger service, but its legacy will never disappear. Because long after the last passenger 747 lands, aviation history will always remember the aircraft that made the world smaller. The Boeing 747. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to Expensive Metal Crafts for more aviation stories, luxury aircraft, engineering marvels, and the most incredible machines ever built. And tell us in the comments, have you ever flown on a Boeing 747? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.